Hello and welcome back to another episode of In Christ Podcast, the show where we inspire the masses to become financially free while building God's kingdom. On the podcast today, we have Mr. Austin Hill for the second time. If you have not checked out the first podcast with him, talking about how to build your credit report, you should go and check it out. The link will be provided in the description below. And today we're going to talk about business funding, more specifically about business credit. So thank you for being here, Mr. Austin Hill.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on Wealth in Christ. It's a pleasure. Your wonderful audience. Just thank you, man. It means a lot. Um, that you're going to smaller, speakers to kind of help, push your platform as well as inspire and give people the tools that they need for success. So I commend that. Appreciate it.
No, thank God, thank God. So talking about business credit, what are some few things that people need to have in place even to start even that process of what are some things that you need to have in place?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that you need to understand is, businesses don't know who you are and what you do. They don't know how credible you are. So it's important that when you're setting up your business credit and you're setting up your business period, that you're setting it up as professional as possible to give you the best chance to use somebody else's money, essentially use the bank's money. So in order to do that, you need to make sure you have a couple things in place. You need to make sure you have your EIN, articles, all that stuff established. But you need to also make sure that you have a professional address. You don't want a PO box. You don't want your house address on. You don't want it on your business because your house is dedicated towards you. And just like you're an entity having your own social security number, your business has its own social security number, EIN. So it needs its own place of location. So you need to have an established place of your business. So like virtual addresses are pretty good to where you can send your mail. They have one here in Detroit. It's Bamboo. There's a few that I'm sure you can search on like realtor.net or something like that to find like different virtual addresses. They're pretty cheap, like 40 to 60 bucks a month. I would recommend going over that. Business phone number two is what you need. You can use Freedom Voice. They give you a fax number as well. You can hook it up to your phone. You use GoDaddy. Whatever you find is most convenient or in your alley of what you prefer as far as provider. You need to also make sure you have your DUNS number. Your DUN Data Universal number. You can get that on duns.com. And one tip that I do recommend in order to get your DUNS number back the same day, say that you're doing it for government contracting. So when you go and apply on dnb.net or .com, it'll ask, what do you need the number for? And they'll say like you need it to set up a new business or you need it for government contracting, or like, and there's like two other options. If you do for government contracting, they'll give you the number back the same day versus if you do it for a new business, it'll take a couple days for them to approve it, and there'll be an egregious document process rather than if you just click, rather than you just clicking, I need it for government contracting, they'll just give it to you the same day. Number three or number four, I can't remember the number anymore. You need a business bank account. So whatever financial institution that you choose to go with, it's up to you. I always recommend that you get a credit union, a national bank, and then also a regional bank. So like a Citizens, Bank of America, and maybe like a Genesis Credit Union or a Navy Federal, whatever you prefer. And then always remember when you're opening banking accounts, whether you're doing funding for your personal or your business, that banking accounts, checking accounts are a great way to establish relationships with bank because people like to do business with people that they know. So having a relationship like a checking account, put money here and there in it. Those are the types of things you need to make sure that'll help your case and, when you're going out for funding for your business and things like that. So those are the four biggest things you need to focus on. And then also when you get all those established, you need to essentially track your credit score. So then the way that we typically track it now, we use FICO and, different credit apps like Credit Karma. But for business credit, the main one that they use is nav.com. You can just, you'll basically go in there, search of your business, and you'll basically claim that business, and it'll give you all the credit information regarding your business. And then also another one is Tilful. I'm not too familiar with it, but I know it is a free option that you can use. They'll generate your paydex score as well. So your paydex score is unlike your personal credit score. It's on a scale from 0 to 100. You need at least 5 trade lines to report for it to generate a score. And Nav basically gives you all the credit scores for your business, your FICO, your Experian, um, your and your DUNS score. It'll also include some personal credit options if you choose to go to that plan as well. But those are the 5 main things that you need in order to start establishing business credit. And then if you want to you want to go for like the larger lines of credit, you do need to focus more on your personal credit to get essentially true business credit. Because they figure that if you have good personal credit, you have good business credit. If you don't have good personal credit, then they won't give you any to business credit. So those are the 5 main things, and then making sure your personal credit score is tip top shape, so that you can go off for funding for your business.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. The first question I have to follow up to everything you just said is one in regards to like the bank account. I know sometimes starting as a small business, I mean, just not say small business, but as a business in general, fundings are not like trying to put money into different accounts is not the most flexible thing for some people. So how would you tell somebody to go about that? Should they just open it as they start to go in revenue, or like what's the best way for someone like that who doesn't have that much cash on hand?
I would say when you're starting out, it's good to go with banks that don't have a minimum deposit and a minimum fee. So like your Citizens, like your credit unions, they most likely don't require you to ever have a minimum in the account. You can put like $5 in it. But like for your Bank of Americas and your Chase, the people that are basically the giants in the banking space, the financial institution space, they're going to require for you to have a minimum deposit. So that's why I recommend you only get like one. That's why I said one of each. So you don't have to get like a Chase, a Bank of America, and a Wells Fargo. That way you're not having to manage 3 monthly payments or 3 minimum balances of like $150. Um, so yeah, you want to just make sure. I would just when you're starting off and you ain't got much. Just go with the banks that don't require a minimum deposit or don't have like an annual fee or anything like that. So that those, because they rack up, and those requirements, they can be cumbersome for smaller businesses that are just starting out. So just any bank that doesn't have an annual fee, like I said, that are usually your credit unions and like your Citizens, Key Bank, stuff, banks like that.
Right. And you said something earlier too about trade lines, like 5 different trade lines. Can you go into more details about trade lines and how someone can get trade lines for the business?
Yeah, so similar to in your personal name, trade lines are just just the line of credit that's extended or the account that's extended to you or your business. So in business credit, using your EIN only, seeing that personal credit, you put your social security. For your business credit, you use your EIN, and you can get what you call different net 30 accounts. So these are basically accounts that you can establish with different financial institutions or different just like privately owned companies like Granger, Quill, Uline, those types of businesses. Uh, you can establish what you call trade lines or net 30 accounts with them, um, to basically, get their supplies, and they'll basically report, your on-time payments to the different bureaus. Some report to some bureaus, some report to others. You just can kind of do research, but each of you can establish those accounts with those vendors and different net 30 accounts, and they'll report them to your business credit, thus helping you build a score and build your credibility to continue to grow your lines of credit and continue to open the door for different opportunities for different cards and lines of credit for your business. But you do need at least three. You need at least 3 to 6 to generate a score, or 3 to 5. I'm sorry, to generate a score. And if you have less than 3, then it won't generate a score at all. And for most of these net 30 accounts, you have to spend at least $60 on these to establish these accounts and for them to report. Now, for the most part, on most of those sites like Uline, Granger, they're not really stuff. It's not really stuff that's too interesting. It's, not stuff that you can use. Nothing's really sexy about it. It's, just really batteries and toilet paper, maybe stuff that you could buy for your house might be useful. But we're just using it to establish these accounts to open doors for different opportunities for funding and getting a hold of other people's money to then invest and do what we have to do for us in our business. So, don't see it as pointless. But I will say, as you're going into these sites and finding these different vendors that let you get net 30 accounts, you'll find that some of the stuff on there is like, I don't really use this. But trust me, it's you'll be using it for greater good to establish your credit and build credibility to open up more opportunities for you and your business.
Right. So you basically, so we just understand what this is. So you need 3 to 5 to generate a business credit.
Yep. So
Um,
Crown Office Supplies, you can use Summa Office Supplies, Uline Granger, Strategic Network Solutions. There's a lot of them out there. You can just Google them, and they'll pretty much come up. But those are just the most popular ones. Ooh, excuse me.
no bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
So the next question with these trade lines is this: how long does it take for the score to generate? Is this something you gotta do continuously every month, randomly go on these websites, or just a one
You
time?
just Yeah, you just have to do it once for it to generate a score. And then when you generate the score, you're pretty much good. Now, some of the accounts you do have to keep up to date in order for for them to keep reporting. But for the initial process for building your credit, you just have to use it once. But it's good it's important that you keep the momentum going, so you don't have to keep opening these accounts. So when you do the Quill, the Uline, the Granger, and they generate a score, you want to move on to the other accounts and start opening, different other accounts that continue to build your score to get different opportunities. Because if not, then they'll fall off eventually. Some of them do. You just have to do your research, and then you can pretty much build your credit that way.
You know. So I guess that's going back to for someone who has like a small, cash with they also trying to focus on building business credit, business trade line. I know for example with Suma, you have to spend like $80 for it to report in your business report. You say you need 3, so that's Suma. Quill, I think it's like 100 plus, and 100 plus 100 initially. They get spend whatever after that. And so, how can somebody manage all these different expenses? Is there a way to go around all these different expenses, or is it just something you just gotta bite the bullet and just do it?
Well, yes and no. You sometimes you do have to bite the bullet, or you can there's like different gas cards and you can get that require like down payments and stuff that'll do the same thing they report, but they'll give you your money back. But honestly, these minimums were way cheaper before. I think it's just because people are just getting more into it. A lot more people are becoming more conscious about business credit and NOB and net 30s, that they're kind of cracking down, or the qualifications are kind of getting high. Because when I was first doing Quill, I was able to get the account the same day. I didn't have to even do a minimum. And when I did the minimum on the site, when I got the account, and then I was just able to do it from there. And now you got to order something, and then after you order something, then they'll extend you the account. But before everybody got hip to or understood what business credit was and the opportunity in it, I feel like that's when they started cranking down. So now and that just comes with trends. And when us as people get a hold of the information, they just kind of put barriers and things like that. So in a case like this, I would say yes, you'll have to bite the bullet and kind of take the brunt. But like I said, in the long term, it'll be well worth it. As you're getting larger lines of credit with different financial institutions for a little, $200-300 investment for your business, just to get it kind of going and build your credibility. So I would say bite the bullet. If $400 is going to stop you you don't want $400 to get in the way of you obtaining $400,000. So You wanna just, like I said, bite the bullet and just kind of take the punches, but understand the long-term goal. What we're looking at is what's important and what'll matter the most, because it's not like we're doing it for nothing. We're doing it to build credit, and it's a purpose in it. Um, so yeah, you're just gonna have to take that L.
Uh, that's good. And with the gas credit, does that is this the same thing as the U line? Everything it does not require any personal guarantee, or it does?
Yeah. So what I always recommend is when you're doing business credit in general is that you freeze all your personal credit reports, because sometimes when you're doing these applications, they'll ask for a personal guarantee, and you just don't. I just take the extra precaution and just freeze my credit reports. So essentially, freezing your credit reports doesn't allow any financial institution or any creditor to get a hold of your credit information and pull your credit. So just go to credit. You can just search each of these. You can just search the three big bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And you can just search credit freeze, and then you can make an account and then just freeze your credit on demand, and then go apply for business credit. That way, you're not putting your personal score in jeopardy when you're applying for these different no personal guarantee business credit cards and stuff like that. Even though I just do the extra precaution, even though you're not personally guaranteeing, you just never know, because there's been cases where they've tried to pull my credit, even though I said no, I don't want to, personal guarantee it. And if I didn't have my credit profile locked, that would have had an increase. So you just want to take that extra precaution. But for the most part, the two big distributors of the fuel cards is WEX, and I can't remember the other one, but for the most part, if you get one of the cards for one of those institutions that manage all of the gas stations, then you can usually get as many as you want. So I have a Fuel Man, I have a Speedway, and I have a Circle K. So it just whatever banks, or not banks, whatever gas stations are in your area, you can pretty much get a gas card for, whether it's a Circle K, uh, Wowco, whatever, BP, Shell. You can pretty much search the application and then apply for it that way. And then, like I said, some of them require a down payment deposit. If you don't have established business credit, they'll require a down payment deposit. But as I mentioned, they are refundable, and it's not, you'll get the money back in like 6 months to a year. Just depends on the term of the account or what you agree to, or just the bank, or just the gas station period that's extending it, because it's different for every gas station. But yeah, you can pretty much get. That's pretty much how the gas cards work uh, for your business credit.
All right. Just give me 1 second. My laptop's about to die. Can you charge it real quick?
Yeah.
All right. We continue the second one. All right. So after just doing all of that, you got the trade lines, the 3 to 5 trade lines to get a business score. Let's talk about real quick about personal credit. How important is personal credit once you establish a 3 to 5 trade line to actually get these credit card, which is the goal in business funding?
So your personal credit, if you want to achieve true, business credit for your business, so those net 30s accounts, for the most part, in those gas cards, you can only spend. They're like kind of like store cards, if you want to say. You can only spend those cards at those institutions and those businesses. But if you want to, get like Mastercards, Visas, where you can spend anywhere, some of them are going to require, or most of them are going to require you to personal guarantee your business. So for the most part, there's business credit, and then there's like corporate credit. So corporate credit is like credit for corporations like your Comcast, your Microsoft, that basically don't have to have anybody to guarantee the account, because they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They're on Forbes, S&P 500, whatever. They have an established financial history, and they have money in the market. So no one has to personal guarantee, because the financial institution knows the bank's worth most of the time. And so a lot of us are small businesses, and we're not corporations. So we're going to have to personal guarantee our account. So Austin Hill is going to have to personal guarantee Age Solutions, because Age Solutions does not have a strong enough credit profile to stand alone on its own. So like I said, the banks figure that if you have good personal credit, then you'll have good business credit. So banks will actually give you, in regards to determining your business credit amounts, they'll actually give you three times your personal limit on your credit card. So the biggest thing is you need at least three credit cards that have at least 2 years, and they have at least a two. Excuse me. They have at least a $2,000 limit on them. And they'll just give you three times the amount. Now, the bigger the credit line, the better. If you got 10,000, they'll give you 30. If you got 20, they'll give you 60. So it just your personal credit is everything, pretty much for us small businesses that are trying to get capital to build our inventory and stuff like that. As we're building up to and are hopeful to become a corporation to where we won't need to personal guarantee account. But for the Amex Platinums and all those other credit cards, you're gonna have to personal guarantee the accounts. But the good thing is you can basically, since it's on in your business name and it's showing up on your business credit, you can dispute the increase that they'll put on your personal credit report in order for you to open an account in your business name. So, for example, the business platinum for American Express is going to require you to personal guarantee the account. So they're going to put a hard pull, since American Express pulls from Experian. They're going to put a hard pull, on your credit report. So it's going to cause your credit score to decrease. But as I mentioned, it's not going to appear on your personal credit report because it's in your business name. So you can essentially dispute that increase, take it off, because it's not going to show up on your personal credit report. So you can basically go for funding as many times as you want and not get any increase on your credit report. So that's like a good way that a lot of people get a lot of money for their business. They'll go apply for 4 or 5 banks in a day or a week and dispute the increase, and then just rinse and repeat. So personal credit is everything when determining, the amount that you can get for you and your business. So making sure you have your personal credit in tip-top shape and you're hitting all the data points is very important.
So okay, yeah, so that you're definitely right about that. So my question is, you said that AMX pulls from Experian. You said,
Yeah. So
um,
there's like secret lenders list that you can get to where you can see what banks pull from what credit union. So you can do this if you're doing business credit, if you're doing personal credit. You just go and search the secret lenders list, or you can just, you can probably even ask the financial institutions who do they pull from, and that's how you maximize your funding and minimize the increase on your credit report. So, for example, you might go to three banks that just pull from Experian. You might go to three banks that pull from Equifax. Then you might go to three banks that only pull from TransUnion. And therefore, you only get three increase on each of your credit reports. So it's not that harming, rather than you go to a bank, you go to six or you go to 9 banks that pull from all three. And you know what I'm saying? So you just want to minimize the impact and maximize the opportunity by just searching and finding out what banks pull from what bureaus. That way you're putting yourself in best position to get as much as you can without harming your credit as little as you can.
no, that's great. So in regards to like applying for these business credit cards, would you apply for business credit card with the banks that you currently have, like you first stated, you want the regional, the credit union, and the national. So I just go apply to Chase since I have a Chase. Apply to Federal, Navy Federal, then apply to Carver. Is that the way, or is there a more detailed sequence in going about applying for these cards?
Well, yeah. So you just, like I said, the biggest thing is you just want to make sure is that you have an established checking account, or some sort of established account with the business, so that or the financial institution, so that they know that you partner with them, you bank with them, and it just increases your chances of getting approved for any of those banks' products, whether it's in your personal name or it's in your business name. So that's probably the biggest thing you need to focus on. But also, when it comes down to how banks operate, is when you know that banks value your balance and your cash flow over pretty much anything else, you can set yourself up to create a sequence to where you can pull money off your credit cards and go deposit it in different checking accounts, and then apply for different bank products at the same time, and then maximize your funding, minimize your impact by using just a strategy, understanding how banks work, that they look at your balance rather than anything else. So the way that I like to tell my clients, like I said, um, is you have a regional, you have a local, and you have a national bank, and you go deposit $10,000, $15,000 in each of these checking accounts, and you go apply for two bank products at each of those financial institutions. You apply for a line of credit, and you apply for a credit card. You go dispute the increase after because they're not going to show up in your credit report, remember? And you just take that $15,000, open a checking account, and apply for your credit the same day. And that'll give you the best opportunity and the best sequence to go get $60,000, $80,000 in your business name. But again, the biggest thing is making sure your personal credit report is in tip-top shape, because you know a lot of people have a lot of money, but banks, when you personal guarantee your business, and you have to, because like I said, corporate credit is only for established companies. When you don't have good credit, it basically kills your chances of getting anything from any bank, no matter how many accounts you have with them or how many you don't. Not saying it's impossible to get one, but when it comes to underwriting and things like that, those are the things that they look at when trying to extend credit. So cash flow and credit for your personal is what you want to make sure is in tip-top shape when you're opening these checking accounts and when you're going to apply for credit and stuff like that, to do these different sequences with all these different banks and things like that.
No, that's definitely great. So that leads me to this question. I'm actually just ask this first. So how do you go about? So you're talking about pulling money off your credit card. So most people probably don't know how to do that. Just how can someone go about pulling money off their credit card when I'm assuming from their personal to put it into their business? Um, that's my first question.
So there's different ways that you can do it. One of the most popular ways, and they since nerfed this from you being able to do it because a lot of people caught on to it, is you used to be able to use a split pay store like Apple, right? So you used to be able to go on to Apple and buy like $60,000 worth of MacBooks and pay with your credit and debit card, and then get the money back on your credit card or back on your debit card. But since, like I said, since a lot of people picked up on that, they no longer do that anymore. So you used to be able to, easily get like 60, 80,000, 20,000 on your credit card that way. But that since has been nerfed. But there's other ways you can do it. You can use like Cash App to get like, pay with your credit card, send it to a friend, have them send it back. You can use PayPal, open two PayPals, one for your business, one for your personal. You can send the money to yourself and then deposit the money in your checking account. Or you can buy gift cards using your credit card and then using the gift cards to buy money orders and then taking the money orders and putting in your checking account. That's another way you can do it. But banks are kind of hip to the money order one. So you can get your credit card shut down if you're not careful with doing that. So I don't necessarily recommend that you do that all the time, maybe once in a couple months. But when you do those types of things often, the financial institutions, they catch on to those type of things, and they diminish you being able to do them. But the couple most popular ways is, sending it to yourself on Cash App or, PayPal and a friend. Um, or I believe there's a way, and I haven't tried this myself, so I couldn't really speak on it. But from what I've been hearing from other people within the space, is you can use your Shopify store. You could buy like you can open a Shopify store and like buy whatever product you have on the store, buy a bunch of them, charge it to your credit card, and then it'll go into your checking account. But then again, the only thing about all of these methods is all of the processing merchants, they're going to require a fee in order for you to process the cards. So those are just like a few ways you can do it. But you just have to be wary of how much it's going to cost for you to take the money off, um, to in order to get the money off your credit card. But um, you need to understand that the long term goal of why you're doing it is, is what it's intended for. You're not just taking the money off just to put it there. You're taking the money off to increase your chances to get more opportunity to invest in larger things, and just put yourself in better position to come financially competent and successful. So most of the time, to get money off your credit card is going to require a fee, but you know it's free money and it's money that you didn't have before. Um, so yeah, those are a few ways that you can get money off credit cards. Just the ones that I recommend. I just recommend you use like Cash App, PayPal. The methods that I mentioned earlier. In regards to sending money to your friends and then them sending it back, it's probably your best bet legally, or not saying it's illegal, but just without getting your credit card shut down. But yeah.
Oh, so that is, and that leads to my next question. Being the fact that there is a possibility with this whole trying to get money off your credit card and use it and put it into your checking, there's a chance of, I guess the banks or people that you're borrowing from to like shut down a credit card. Would are you still in a highly favor that's the way to go about funding your showing some type of presence in your checking account so you could get a higher business card or
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I missed the last part. You said
so
I
basically
recommend.
so basically being the fact that you taking money off your credit card has a lot of risk and like you said that depending on how you go about it they can close your personal credit, close your personal credit card and you won't have any access to it. So I'm saying, do you still recommend that as the go-to way to fund your business account to show some type of cash flow, to show some type of huge balance, so you could apply for these business cards?
Well, yeah. The truth of the matter is, some of us have no choice unless we're building when we're building from the ground up. You kind of got to take those type of risks. I'm not saying you should go out here and do what I just, you do the Kroger or whatever method and buy the gift cards. But at least the other two methods that I mentioned, the PayPal and the Cash App method, to get the money off, you can do those regularly. It's just the fee that I was mentioning that might, run it might become costly as you're getting larger amounts off your credit card, like 7,000, 10,000, things like that. But a lot of us, we got to fake it because we don't have. It's just, we're starting as first generation, business owners, millionaires, and so you kind of got to take that risk in order to reap the reward. But there's not like a huge sure way you're gonna close your credit card that way. But at least the two methods that I mentioned, with PayPal and Cash App, you won't. But um, it's just kind of like you just kind of got to know, and just you just don't want to make it obvious that you're doing certain things, such as the methods that I mentioned. But for the most part, I haven't encountered any of my credit cards being shut down. Anything that any of the people that I work with within the space, they haven't had any of their credit cards shut down. I'm just saying as a precaution, you might want to be wary of that. As you can see with the whole Quill and Uline thing, when a lot of people started doing it, it became something that you couldn't do anymore, or they edited the rules so that we could play and things like that. So it just kind of you got to gauge it and just uh, have different methods and staying different when you're doing when you're pursuing opportunities.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So that leads me to my next question. What is the biggest challenge? I have two. It's a two-part question. So the first one is, what's the biggest challenge you see people face in terms of trying to get business funding, um, in terms of credit cards? What do you think? Would you say is the biggest challenge for people?
Um, well, I mean, it's a few things. Some of it, it's the personal credit aspect. So you can establish credit in your business name, like I mentioned, without using your personal, your personal social security number, which is good. So you could build, business credit, without having you. If you have bad personal credit, you don't have to worry about that. But in order to get the things that people are looking for, the $20,000 from Amex and all these other lines of credit, you're gonna need a good credit score. So credit score is probably one of the biggest things that I'm seeing, at least from the clients that I've dealt with. And then to build up that personal credit score, those types of things take time, and people want short results, which is understandable. We want things now, but realistically, when it comes to fixing credit and repairing credit, those things don't just happen overnight. They can, but since these companies are privately owned, sometimes, and they have certain laws and regulations on ordering and requiring them to respond within a certain amount of time. Credit repair for personal credit and ordering to get business credit is what I'm seeing is becoming more cumbersome, and also just starting. And I feel like that's just a big thing in general with anything that people do is everything. Everybody wants everything to be perfect. Black people especially. But a lot of those numbers and a lot of those fears that you have, you'll never conquer, you never address, or they'll just be so fictional that they don't even exist, and you won't know it until you start. You can only a data analyst can only predict the future so much. You can't crunch the numbers without doing the numbers. So it's just starting. A lot of people, a lot of speculation with, oh, well, what if they don't do this, and oh, I can't do this, and it's just starting. Is what I find cumbersome for people that are getting started in business credit. And then also, sometimes people are a little strapped for cash, so that's always a factor too when you're establishing these accounts and you got to spend $100 here and $60 here. Um, that can that can become cumbersome, but I'm not seeing that more often than I'm seeing, the biggest reason with personal credit, having bad personal credit, and not people wanting to start are probably the two bigger reasons than people not having enough money. Uh, but, but yeah, those are the main things that I'm seeing from people that are trying to build their business credit and some of the challenges that they're facing. I'm sure there's more, but those are just the main three.
That's great. That's great. So being the fact, so what's some mistakes, you just know what the challenges in terms of people not wanting to start. So what are some mistakes people make while going for business funding that have you have seen?
The biggest mistakes again is make your personal credit is not where it needs to be. A lot of people, or not a lot of people, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, but just from what I've seen, the people that are helping other companies, other people build out their personal credit report, they're being told different things. So some of the information might be miscommunicated. And because of that, people's credit reports look a certain way. So the biggest thing is just, well, two things. You want to make sure your business is set up as professionally as possible to extend the possibilities for you to get funding. So making sure, like I said earlier on in the podcast, having a good address, phone number, website, all those types of things. You want to make sure you have all those things, as well as having your business credit in order. And when you don't, and when one of those things are missing, uh, you increase the chances of you not getting approved or just getting denied, period, or just getting significantly less than what you could have if you just follow the simple mistakes or the simple um, steps and things like that. So just impatience is also a thing. People become impatient when they're doing when you're building something from the ground up, like credit. Um, but yeah, those are the few mistakes that people make is with their personal credit and not setting their business up properly to go in a bank and get what they need to get done.
That's good. So that means so being the fact you spoke about kind of getting your personal credit, you gotta get your personal credit right. You need about like 2 to 3 years. $2,000 limit on 2 or 3 cards. You want to set these net 30 accounts, 3 to 5. Um, so being that said, is there a right time to go for business funding? Like, is there like, it's like a time, like, 2 years after you start the business, you go for business funding, a year, six
Oh,
months.
I would say anything, credit especially is getting started as soon as possible because as old as your oldest trade line is as old as you'll be able to as old as your oldest trade line is as old as your credibility is. So if you know if your trade line is only a month old, then you're only credible for only 1 month. But if you're 5 years old, then you're credible for up to 5 months. So really when people get started, that's why you want to get your first credit card at 18 so that timer starts for the opportunity to and your consistency and your credibility to be increased, to increase your chances for you to get more funding. Because the older your business is, the more funding you can get. That's why a lot of people buy age corporations from a lot of companies that sell their businesses because the older your business is, the more money you can get, and the older your credit is, the more credible you look, and the more opportunity that you'll be able to extend for yourself. So really, just any time is a good time. Getting started as soon as you can. Start doing research and start establishing these accounts as soon as you possibly can, as soon as you're financially able, mentally able, or whatever. Whenever you're able, just get started ASAP. No matter how old you are, well, you got to be 18, but at least for your personal credit. But you want to get started on those things as soon as possible.
All right, all right.
It's never too late to get started, and it's never too late to start. So, or it's never too early to start. So.
All right, all right. So I definitely want to say thank you for your time and get us breaking down what is necessary to need to go about business funding in terms of business credit. And I hope those who are listening, they definitely take notes and not get too worried, too caught up in where they are, and actually just continue the process. Do you have any closing words for us in terms of to encourage anybody who may be listening to this podcast? Um,
I would say the biggest thing is when you're, it's just being patient. Patience, I'm a Christian man, you know, scriptures, patience, position your soul. You shouldn't be anxiously awaiting anything but His second coming. So, this stuff, all of this stuff that you want in regards for you and your business, it'll come in due time. So don't rush the process. Just stay adamant, stay consistent, and just have the faith that it'll come in at the right time. Because even though you might want something to come at a certain time, God might not have it for you to have until you're a certain age, or for you to go through certain things in order for you to get it. So it may not be your time to get credit or business credit or start, but just have the faith that when it does, it's at the perfect time, and it's for a specific reason. So just stay patient, stay consistent, and just keep your faith, and in regards to business and in credit, you'll be golden.
thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I hope those who are listening definitely took some notes. There's a lot of gems out, and please, please go and apply it, because having knowledge and not applying is a waste. So please go and apply the knowledge and stay tuned for the next week episode.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Dami.
No problem. Thank you for being here, Mr. Austin Hill.
Yes,